Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Friday. It is HBCU Game Day, and it has been our unofficial FAMU week, baby. You guys have been dominating the headlines, Rattlers. Our guy Tan, aka Von Wilson. He's just been on a roll. He's been booking guests. He's been breaking news, information, and updates. So we have just been rolling with it. The story this week, Willie Simmons leaves FAMU. He goes to Duke University. FAMU on the search for a new head coach. And one of the big topics that goes along with this when you have a coaching change is recruits. Can you hold on to the recruits? Will recruiting be the same? Well, we have for you today the recruiting coordinator for FAMU University, those Rattlers. It is Devin Rispress joining us from Tallahassee. Coach Riz, I know you're busy. You have recruits on deck right now. Like, we only have a few minutes with you, so let's get into it. Devin, I would imagine one of your big topics, and people have been asking you this week, what about the recruits that you signed? Are you going to hold on to them? What's going on there, man? What has that process been like for you? A little bit of change in the air at FAMU, and you trying to keep the recruits on board, staying connected with those guys, continuing to recruit. What has this week been like for you, man?
Well, it's been pretty hectic when you lose a guy like Coach Simmons, who was such a great coach and a great guy for the young men. You take a hit, but we've done a great job as a staff to kind of keep the guys in the boat. Just being consistent, keep leveling the kids up, and just letting them know that the program's not bigger than one man's not bigger than the program. So it's more about the culture and more about the orange and green.
Now, Devin, you were on a roll. FAMU's been on a roll. You guys won the Celebration Bowl. Then we had kids from Florida State. We had kids out of the portal. We had some big signings just in your normal recruiting, man. I know you can't give us the secret sauce of how you make the deals happen. But what is it that energizes you? I read where you talked about, you love the competition on the recruiting trail. What is it about you that you stepped away from the actual coaching aspect of football and you are fully dedicated to recruiting? What drives you in that avenue?
Well, even when I was a coach, I was also juggling the duties of being a recruiter also, where I kind of switch roles where on the high school level, I was sending kids to school. Now on the college level, I'm convincing kids to come to school. So, my thing, like I said earlier, it's about the competition. Everybody wants what we have, and we're hot right now. All the kids want to come here, and everybody want to try to take them from us. So, I love the competition of it, but I also love just interacting with the families and with the kids, and just being a guy that can help mold these kids and help them grow once they get here also.
So what is the process like timeline-wise? I always wonder, Devin. We're talking with Devin Rispress. He's the recruiting coordinator at Florida A&M University. From the time you sign a kid, if you backtrack to your first contact with them, your first chat with his parents, that whole relationship, like how much time do you invest in each kid, whether you sign them or not, as part of this process out on the recruiting trail?
Well, there's a lot of time invested for sure. I mean, the biggest thing is being consistent. A lot of times when you first make contact with these kids, if you don't keep in contact with them, they'll move on and have the interest of somebody else. But not just me by myself, but also our position coaches, head coaches and coordinators, they also stay in contact with these kids and these parents also, and just build that relationship. So these kids are expecting to hear from you, and you deliver.
All right, so you've been at this job a couple of years. We have seen the transfer portal really just continue to evolve and really be the driving force behind college football, especially in the recruiting aspect. How have you kept up with what parts do you like? What parts are kind of stressful with the ever-evolving transfer portal in college football?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I've lived both sides of it. I was on the high school level sending kids to school, and now I'm on the college level convincing kids to come to school. So I've seen the change in what the portal has done to college football. Obviously, it has hurt high school football tremendously. It has, and I feel for those kids. But on the flip side, it has helped college football. You can build you a team throughout the portal. As long as you can get the team to gel together with bringing the guys in, you can build a team through the portal. So the portal has been great for the college level, but it has hurt the high school level.
All right, Miles, we got some bullet points on Coach Rispress. Let's make sure we hit those, let people know a little background as we continue the conversation. I loaded those up in your macros for you. Coach, what is the relationship like? How has it changed with those high school kids? Like, where do they go now? Because so many spots are now taken by the people out of the transfer portal. Are the high school kids going D2, D3? Do you still keep a relationship with them to maybe find them later in the portal? Like, how have you adjusted your relationship with high school kids? Because like you said, and I've heard other coaches say it, that they are, if there is a victim of the transfer portal, a lot of times it is high school kids.
Well, I made a living on the college level off of relationships I built with high school kids. So I continue to do that. That's the biggest thing. I mean, even with my strategy in recruiting, even the 4- and 5-star kids, I still build a relationship with those kids and offer them and still communicate with them, because the way the game is going now, they may go to school 1 or 2 semesters and be in the portal again. And if they do, I want to be there to catch them. So I keep relationship with high school kids. And as far as kids, where do they go with it being limited spots? You may have to drop down a level. All right, you may, in ordinary times, a 3-star kid was normally a FBS kid, but now since the portal's opened up, some of those 3-star kids are searching for homes. So just advice for kids: if you're a kid in that situation, go where you're wanted. Go where you're wanted, and you can use whatever school for the same reason. I mean, for the same thing as a stepping stone and gain film and end up going to the portal and finding you a better home also.
All right, you got some love going on in the chat this morning, talking with Devin Rispress. Let's go through here. Try Again says, I'm absolutely shocked more kids haven't left. I wonder how the heck FAMU is keeping all them kids. Well, just look on your screen. Not at me, but at Coach Rispress. He's a big part of that. Kimberly Holloway says, hardest working brother in the business. They got you. Edwin Moore is calling you the Rattler catcher down there. So
the Rattler catcher.
so Coach Riz is always good when you get love in the chat and the comments. That's hard to come by on the internet these days, for sure. Man, what is it like? You talked about this. You keep relationships. Some schools at the FCS level, the HBCU level, the Division II level, they view some kids as, oh, we'll never get them, so they don't make an effort. You talked about this, like, that's not your approach. You don't look at kids as not having a chance at all, do you?
No, and I hate to give the secret up. Somebody might steal it, but, man, I don't care if a kid's a 10-star. I want a relationship with them. I want to build with them. I think that I can compete with anybody. So I'm always shoot my shot, and with me shooting my shot, when those kids go, if they go in the portal, they will remember their offer here at FAMU or their offer from me.
Do you get a sense from the parents or even the kids themselves of I don't know, a level of appreciation or I don't know, shock might be too strong of a word, that you are in there shooting your shot when they might be, hauling in FBS letters and visits, weekend by weekend?
I can't hear, Vaughn. I mean, you definitely, the parents are very important in the process. The parents are very important. My kid's 4 years old right now, but if he becomes a big-time athlete when he's 17, 18 years old, trying to make that ultimate decision on the next 4 years of his life, because those 4 years of your life, it definitely affects the next 50 to 60 years of your life. So I would definitely be involved in the process with my son. So I get the parents involved as much as possible.
All right, we got some people in the chat. I know you got some noise behind you there. I'll try to speak loud enough for you to hear me, Coach Riz. But we got some FAMU alumni asking, what can they do to help you and the staff out on the recruiting trail?
Well, that's not a question for me. A question for me to answer. I'll never answer that type of question. That'll be a athletic director question.
All right, gotcha. That is fair enough, but you do have the willingness of the alumni behind you, so that is good to feel there. Give them the fangs for sure on a Friday morning. Man, what does it feel like when you get one of those kids that maybe you were an underdog? Like they were like, oh man, he's not, FAMU's not going to get that one. He's going to go, XYZ or wherever, and you get that win on the recruiting trail. What does that feel like for you?
Man, I feel like the king of the hill. And we sit on the highs of the 7th hill, so I definitely feel like the king of the hill. I mean, when I talk about the competition and the passion for this thing, that's what I thrive on. So when I get those kids, it's definitely a great feeling. Definitely a great feeling.
Being dedicated to recruiting, what type of advantage does that give FAMU or any other school? In the past, we've seen that, maybe it's somebody who is coaching, has to split duties between being at practice, being on the field, also trying to get on the road. Your ability, because you were FAMU's first dedicated recruiter who didn't have, coaching duties as well. What type of advantage does that give you or any other school in that position?
And I think that I may be the first in HBCU to be in this position. It's a great tool to have. I mean, I came from a coaching background, and to have a guy like me that's dedicated fully to recruiting while the coaching staff is on the field at practice, I be working. I mean, Vaughn comes over all the time, and the team be practicing, and I be sitting there with a laptop open, an iPad open, on my phone, 3 or 4 devices, just trying to track down the latest guy, while at other places, the running back coach or wide receiver coach may be the recruiting coordinator. So their time is limited, but my time is never limited. I mean, I work around the clock, barely sleep. So it's a great tool to have. I think that's been a lot of reason for the success here on the Hill.
I hear you, out there working hard. Here's one thing I wonder. As time goes by, kids evolve, society evolves. These 18 to 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds that you're talking to right now, what do they like? Like, how do you impress them? Because they can make their own video. If they wanted to see themselves, in a FAMU jersey, they can go on Photoshop or whatever app and as opposed to 10 years ago, that might have been like, oh my God, that's really cool. How do you impress the kids of today?
Well, I think the biggest thing that helped me is that I came from the high school level. I traveled up and down the highway with these kids. I listened to their music. I watched what they ate. Everything they did. I studied it and I incorporated it into myself, in which I have a few gray hairs in my head and in my beard, but I'm still a young guy, so I still can relate to the kids also. So just being relatable to the kids is the biggest thing. And a lot of stuff that they do and that they're into, I've seen that over the years from the high school level.
I have a lot of gray hairs, and I like to pretend that I'm still relatable to the kids, but I think I've lost a little more touch than you have, Devin. Talking with Coach Riz here. He's a recruiting coordinator at FAMU. I know you got some recruits on the ground right now. We are going to let you go here, but what moving forward? You have no control over who you will be working with, but what is the most important thing for you to be able to continue to do as the recruiting coordinator to have continued success moving forward, whoever, the coaching staff will be there at FAMU?
Well, I expect athletic director Don Sykes to hire the best person for the job that she sees fit, and that's not my concern. My concern is to make sure that whoever the head coach is, that I have the recruiting department up and ready to run and still rolling. so that we won't drop off. But that's my biggest concern, just to make sure that, you know, we don't miss a beat in recruiting.
How big was that Celebration Bowl appearance and win, being on ABC TV, high production value, getting the win and everything that goes with that? How well did that sell on the road winning the Celebration Bowl?
Well, that's definitely a big plus. I mean, we were the only game on in the entire country. So the recruits were tuned in, the parents were tuned in. So it was definitely a plus when you're talking about recruiting. When you talk recruiting, everybody wants to win. And in HBCU football, there's no bigger game than the Celebration Bowl. So to win that game along with the SWAC championship, then you built momentum going into recruiting season.
All right, last question. I'm looking into the chat here. How much do you have to utilize social media along with, you know, being in the living room, you know, phone calls, texts, but how big is being on top of your social media game on the recruiting trail?
Social media is the most important tool when it comes to recruiting. So I live on Twitter. Matter of fact, y'all follow me at Coach to Bless, Coach the number 2 in Bless. But I stay on Twitter day in and day out. I remember just a little story. I remember when I was on the high school level, when I was trying to send kids to college, I would DM a college head coach and wouldn't get a response. And I always said that if I ever got a college job, that I would respond to everybody. Well, when I got here and actually got a college coaching job, I learned that I wasn't being truthful. I wouldn't be able to. When I took this job, I had like 6,000 followers, and today I think I have like 103,000 followers in 2 years. So just imagine what my DM looks like. But I try to you know, comb through it and get back to people. But a social media presence is the biggest tool when it comes to recruiting.
Well, I would imagine with 6 figures in your social media following, probably half of those people have a nephew that you just have to check out and see. So, Coach, we wish you well, sifting through the tape, sifting through the messages and everything you do out on the road. You have been knocking it out of the park for FAMU. There's no denying that. And as we let you go here, Devin Rispress, thank you so much for joining us. Vaughn Wilson has set up your camera. He's running the shot. Whatever Vaughn tells you, Devin, he has no more eligibility left, okay? Don't let Vaughn try to talk you into another year of punting. He is done, okay?
Right.
All right, Vaughn Wilson, an All-American punter at FAMU back in the day, but he is done. Coach Riz, thank you so much for joining us, man. All the best of luck to you in the future, and we really appreciate you taking out some time on a Friday morning to talk with us here at HBCU Game Day.
Thank you, guys. I enjoy your show every day. Everything that comes out, I enjoy the work, so appreciate y'all for having me, and go Rattlers.
All right, big round of applause there for Coach Rispress. You know, he could have laughed at my last joke a little harder there. Kind of left me hanging. All right, we got Stephen J. Gaither joining us in just a second. He's the founder of HBCU Game Day. I think Vaughn Wilson is going to jump from one side of the camera to the other, and we're going to continue this conversation. The conversation is going on in the chat. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Miles, show him the belt. Show him the belt, Miles. I got to say big thank you. There you go. Big thank you. Fulfilling orders yesterday. I was in a long line at the post office dropping off those belts, man, and the orders have been coming in. It should be, if we kept it in there, in the description of today's video. I hope I didn't erase it. Yeah, it's in there. If you go to the description of today's video, there is a link that will take you directly to the championship belt on our HBCU Game Day Shopify store. When people get it in person, they are really shocked at the weight and the heftiness of it. I mean, it is real deal. I mean, you feel like, you know, you are like Roman Reigns, you know, John Cena or somebody when you put that thing on. So feel free to wear it, put it in the case, put it on your wall, do whatever you want to do. If you are one of those serious Rattler fans, this is the belt for you, championship belt, because you are the champions until someone dethrones you. You are the 2023 3 HBCU national champions at the Division I level. FAMU. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, Miles. Appreciate everyone. All right, so we got Vaughn Wilson, we got Stephen J. Gaither. One of those jokers will be joining us here in a second. They are getting it together. There's joker number 1 there. It is Tan Rather. What's up, Vaughn? How you doing, man? You just doing it all today?
Hear me okay?
Yeah. We hear you fine. Appreciate you getting Coach Riz up there, Coach Rispress. Very, very popular man at FAMU.
Listen, you have no idea. His phone was ringing, and he was on a call directing them what to do at the field house until he got back. 9 recruits in town, phones ringing off the hook for other people wanting to come. So he's a very busy man, so we grabbed him just in time.
All right, so Vaughn, we ask you day to day. It is your only your opinion, only you giving information. Do you feel any differently about anything from yesterday when we talked? FAMU coaching search is the #1 story in HBCU sports right now.
No, I think the anxiety is kind of waned. I mean, not saying everybody's still not excited about seeing who will be the next FAMU head coach, but the over anxiety, I think everyone is dealing much better with Coach Simmons being gone and dealing with their reality about moving forward. You know, I did wake up to a story by, I think it was Stephen J. Gaither wrote a story about some issues of people unfairly attacking the athletic director. I have maintained that I will respect the athletic director in her job and the job that she has to do. It's a very, very public position. Almost everything you do as an athletic director is right there in the public. You know, anything you do can be taken wrong. You know, she stopped in the weight room to look at the opportunities for naming rights, trying to find a way to raise money. And so, you know, someone snapped a picture of her, you know, doing a press. Maybe she was interacting with the student athletes. One thing about Tiffany Dawn Sykes, she interacts as well or better than any athletic director I've ever seen at FAMU. She interacts with the student athletes as well as anyone. So her interacting with the student athletes is nothing new. She's personable, you know, she's approachable by the student athletes. And I just think, you know, Mike Tyson made a quote, you know, social media has allowed people to just say anything and not have the fear of somebody punching them in the mouth, you know? And so people just type things, they don't think about it, they just say whatever they feel like saying. And sometimes it's just inappropriate. And I thought, you know, once I read the article, I was like, yeah, it is kind of tough. You know, I've seen some things that I've been kind of appalled about. You know, we got to pump our brakes. You know, we just got to pump our brakes from that much rhetoric going on.
Well, I think the thing with social media, Vaughn, and life in general, whenever the opening statement or whatever you have to say is what y'all ought to do or what you need to do, you should pause right there and you should shut your mouth. Like,
I agree.
What you need to do is mind your business in most cases.
But guess what?
Worry about your credit score.
Whatever Tiffany Dawn Sykes does, it's going to affect Tiffany Dawn Sykes' career. Why would I waste or risk my career listening to you, and you can go back to your hole in the wall, and I still have to be here and run my athletic department? So you can listen to it and hear it or whatever, but to expect that someone's going to just listen to you and you're not in their position and listen to you with no repercussions. If it doesn't work, you just go back and say, oh, it doesn't work. But she has to have that on her record. So, you know, I just think people need to pump the brakes just a little bit. We're all passionate. It was very hard for me to maintain mine, but I knew the common sense thing is to maintain that passion and not let it turn into hate. We can't do that.
Yeah,
at HBCU, we don't have the room for that at all anywhere.
Emotional intelligence. It goes a long way. All right, Vaughn, hold on. I want to bring in Stephen J. Gaither. We could just bring him in full screen here. Stephen, you wrote on the article that Vaughn was just talking about. Why don't you give us the background of the piece that you put out and tell us a little bit about it? And it's in the link. The link is in the chat right now for people that want to read it as well. Steve, you might be on mute, brother. There you go. There you go.
On mute.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks, Tolly. No, so and appreciate you, Vaughn, as well. The article I wrote earlier today was just speaking on Tiffany Sykes and some of the backlash, some of the criticism, and some of the just some of the things that I've observed over the past year. Full disclosure, I do, like Tolly said the other day, I consider myself a friend of AD Sykes. I've known her for quite a while, followed her career, and was really excited for her when she got the FAMU job. But and knowing what I know about FAMU, I know that they're a very passionate fan base. They have a lot of folks that are invested in the success, particularly of the football program. And I know, as we've talked about and joked about, sometimes, if you're coming from the outside, you have to assimilate into the culture. And, Tiffany Sykes, for a year, she's just been on the job for a year. And, she came into a situation where they're recovering from, the football eligibility issues a while back. The infrastructure was starting to be put in place. And she just come in and, made sure that, everything was, overseeing everything. And also they've had a lot of success on and off of the field, the baseball championship and so many things. But over the past year, I've just been observing so many things on social media that have nothing to do with her performance. Some criticisms that, are aesthetically based and really unfair. And even from the moment she was, brought in as the AD, there were folks, in the HBCU spaces questioning her credibility that I felt was, I didn't feel like she would get if she was a man. And I do think that, that has consistently persisted over the last couple of months. And, now I think with Willie Simmons' departure and obviously, everything he's meant to that community and everything that he has brought, there are a lot of people that feel that that's a big loss, and it obviously is. But I feel like, she's kind of being scapegoated in a lot of ways. And, people are running with hearsay and things like that. So it's just kind of been an ugly situation. So I just kind of wanted to address it. And then as Vaughn mentioned, the tweet yesterday, I thought kind of was the cherry on the top. I kind of already had it in mind. And it's like, are we really doing this? Like she's not a professional and she doesn't know what she's doing. She can't do the more than one thing at once. So.
And Tolly, let me be clear. I absolutely do not mind criticism. It's the attacks, the personal attacks is what I'm not a fan of. I can understand anybody. People criticize us. Hey, you're talking about FAMU all week.
Did they say that?
I mean, what is the story this week? It's on this campus. Right. Basketball is kind of on a hiatus and playing very few games. But we can accept criticism. I can accept criticism. But it's the attacks that I don't like. I don't like personal attacks on people. And I just think our society has accepted that too well. It's unacceptable. I just,
Well, here's the thing: the tweet in question yesterday. So Tiffany Dawn Sykes is walking through the weight room. She is Vaughn, working through the process of getting some naming rights. So she's in the weight room, and whatever that process is, that's why she was there. She took probably, 30 seconds out of that trip to say, hey, y'all ain't doing that weight press, right? Watch this. This is how you do it. Maybe 30 seconds of her day. Someone took a picture, it gets posted to social media. She described what was going on. Again, you're looking at a couple of minutes max with some real business, and somebody had a think piece tweet about, that not being the right move, and you need to show your self-work. You need to get one of these fake photos of you with your sleeves rolled up on the phone. I'm talking to coaches. That's what I'm doing here. Look at me work. Like, totally inauthentic that anybody would put that out there. And, you know, she responded back with, I mean, I think she owned the tweet. When she responded back, she was like, I'm working on some naming rights. You know, I took a moment to interact with some of the kids there. Somebody took a picture. I was unaware of it. If you'd like to help out with the naming rights, here, put your money where your mouth is right here. Here's the information.
Yeah.
You know, radio silence from
I just think there's a lot of tension in the FAMU nation right now, and I think it's starting to calm down. A lot of the tension was due to the disbelief in the quick departure of Coach Simmons. Now I think everyone is dealing with that and seeing that the process is going forward. You know, that
like
process
he was going to leave, Vaughn. Like when you listen to him, he was going to leave. The money
he was going to leave.
The money didn't matter. The man said, I want to be a head coach at the FBS level, the Power 5 level. The only way I see for me to get there is to get into that machine as a position coach and work my way up. He listed 3 coaches in history who have gone from HBCUs to be a head coach, to get that promotion. All right? And over the course of time, 3 people, one of them being Deion Sanders, which shouldn't even count because he is like the most ultra popular football player on the planet, and he hadn't played in forever. So he's
right.
a unicorn. He's an anomaly. You know, Jay Hobson at Alcorn State was not a brother. That weighs into the equation when you talk about the disparity in hiring, you know, black football coaches. So the man had a plan for his life, and he executed the plan. Tiffany could have come up with $500,000. I mean, it might have made him look differently, but his goal was, I'm moving on.
And I'm going back to the same point I've been making for the last couple of days. The overwhelming tone of the Rattler Nation is they don't want to lose what the team has been over the last 3 years, especially last year. And that goes back to my point of why I really feel strongly that someone that can maintain this group of coaches to continue to make another run at it and to keep these players together, I think that's very important to everybody. There's a way to say everything. You don't have to be so demanding. You know, I try to stay out of the controversial stuff because you can never win. No matter if you're right, you still don't win. So I just try to make my points, not insulting anyone. I can't tell anybody what to do because that's their job. They have to answer to their boss. In this case, if it's the VP AD of athletics, the president is her boss. And when she presents a person to him, then they're going to have to answer to both of their boss, which is the board of trustees. There's a process. Nowhere in there does it say take alumni suggestion. There's not a way that alumni can take a vote on who to go after next, and that goes through the process. It just doesn't work like that. Someone is hired with that responsibility, and we have to, you know, hope and pray that that person selects the person that we all want, that they want, that whoever, although those opinions are differing, whoever is wanting that to happen, they're going to want whoever their person is to come in, and whether that's somebody from the outside or the inside, it doesn't matter. Word is another coach entered the conversation yesterday. I apologize, I'm on site where I had to come to Devin Rispress because I couldn't take him too far away from the field house. So I'm here in the Hansel Tooks Recreation Center, thanks to Bob Carroll and Coach Pye. But I don't have his name, but he's an assistant defensive line coach at the Kansas City Chiefs. He has worked as graduate assistant at
Steve will look it up. Keep talking.
Yes, he was at Bethune, was quarterback coach 1 year, and at Howard 1 year as a quarterback coach. Now he's the assistant defensive line coach with the Kansas City Chiefs. He has entered the conversation. So while we know the Tiffany Dawn Sykes is trying to narrow down, the field actually just got a little wider. You know, I don't know how many others she has in that are going into serious consideration. But when I saw that this person was interested, you have to consider it, you have to vet it, and so
Well, I would say
the
this, Vaughn.
process is going the process is going to be the process.
I would say this. If you go to Willie Simmons' office right now, it probably still smells like his cologne. There might be some trash in the trash can that he left in there that hasn't been thrown out yet. The man just left this week. Like,
Right,
we started Monday. He was still the coach on Monday morning.
right.
It's Friday. All right, let it breathe. Let it breathe. Now, if you get an announcement next week that Tolly Carr is the head coach of FAMU, then have at it. That is a terrible decision. But we have not had a decision yet. It could be a home run. It could be one that everybody loves. It could be a 50-50. It could be, nobody likes it. Let's wait and see what happens. But, I mean, you don't want to take forever, but, 4 days is not a time to lose your head.
Yeah, yeah, we just got to dial it back just a little bit. It just like I said, I know we're all, I don't think anybody's more passionate than me. It's probably somebody as passionate as me, but I don't think anybody's more passionate to me. But I would never resort to name calling or trying to dictate to somebody what they should do in the process. The process is the process, and right now, the ball is in Tiffany Dawn Sykes' court. This is her first major. She's hired a women's basketball coach and some other coaches, but this is not discounting those sports. That's not what I'm saying. But everyone knows a football coach is a major hire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To the vice president level, of a university. This is her first hire to that level. So I think everyone's hoping she makes a choice that will help move FAMU athletics football team in the direction that it was going.
All right, let's quickly go back to Steve now. Steve, we've seen, if you look back at the last decade, we've seen a lot of female athletic directors. We've seen female commissioners. That level of disparity, still not perfect, but we have seen change. We have seen, I think HBCUs have probably, I don't know, would you say has had more of an accelerated rate of women in these, high administration roles when you look at, the college, athletic universe. What type of evolution, Steve, have you seen? What type of changes and reaction as we've seen this, at various schools with the schools that we cover?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you look at HBCU athletics, there are a number of women who are at the forefront. You think about the commissioners that we have. Jackie McWilliams over at the CIAA. She's the longest standing HBCU commissioner we have. She's on so many lists, for things she's done at the CIAA. Then you also have Sonia Steele, who is over the MEAC. She's in, I believe this is her third full year. She's just starting. So she's been leading that league as they continue to navigate everything they've had to deal with. And then also Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes over at the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. She was a longtime AD over at Dillard University, I believe, before coming over to that position. And so there is, of course, HBCUs really have been progressive in putting that out there. But when you look at our universities are primarily women, are primarily Black women. So that actually kind of makes sense in the demographics that we have. I think, as Vaughn was saying, I think nobody is above scrutiny for sure. And no one is above, no one's above, that type of thing. But I do think, just again, observing through my time, I do think that there are certain criticisms and certain nuances that Black women, even as they have these positions, they are dealing with those undercurrents and undertones, and so many times those come out. And even in doing the story that I did on Tiffany again, knowing the fact that she is a friend and someone that that I know personally, I did have some conversations with other people just about other women that are in athletics and HBCUs that have been in a position such as hers, and they have dealt with the same thing. They've dealt with people policing their wardrobe. There have been talks about tone. There have been talks about so many things. Even in that tweet that you saw yesterday, the assumption was she can't be, if she's in here in the weight room with the students, is she really doing the work that really matters, which is hiring a head football coach? And I understand that that's on the forefront of everybody's mind, but as we saw, she was doing other work because there are other things that are involved with her job, and it's not just a one-person process. So, really, the article was focused on Tiffany, but I think it's great now that we have Black women in these positions. But I think it's vital that we make sure that we're all checking our biases. And I think even earlier this week we saw Dr. Claudine Gay of Harvard University. She had to step down. There were some things that people brought up and criticisms that led to that started really with her being outspoken. And I think that's a part of some of the things. One of the things when you are a Black woman and you are a position of power, you have that power, but in many people's minds, you don't have. You have to wield it quietly, or else there will be backlash. So that's really, I think, the next evolution for HBCU sports and HBCUs is to not only just have women in these positions, but also to allow them to cook. Let her get in the kitchen, do what she has to do, and as you say, we'll see what the meal is resulting in. And I know when Vaughn was talking about the 4 days of desperation, it made me think about here's one for you 90s heads. It made me think about Jodeci in the desert in that leather crying because homegirl had been gone for an hour. So there's that.
The chat is real busy, Tolly. The chat is super busy. You hear me?
Yeah. I was going to say people are acting like it's the Bay of Pigs here. We got nuclear
My friend
weapons.
Jimmy Mack, I see you. Jimmy Mack, thank you. Dr. Kanisha Hall, she said it was a great article.
Hey, the doctor keeps us popping in the surgeon's room. We appreciate that. That is top-notch company we're keeping in the surgeon's room.
TMB made a good statement. FAMU just needs another top QB, and all this will be forgotten. That's going to be, you know what? That's a good point. It's like we just said. There's nothing happening right now, so everybody's concentrated on this one little aspect of the whole HBCU gamut. My friend Ishmael said, I pulled a hammy thinking about punting another ball, Tolly. So yeah, I did cringe when you said that. I started thinking about it. It's just way past my time. AJ Niles, you're right. There's always tension in FAMU circles. Royal Code, no job prepares you to be an AD. Absolutely. You have to get in there and learn it. You can have all the experience in the world, but you've got to learn it once you get in there, because even if you're an assistant AD, you weren't making the final decisions, and you don't understand a lot of decisions. You don't have to make a lot of decisions.
The pressure. You can't feel the pressure until you feel the pressure. Like, people can tell you this is what it's going to feel like. Oh, okay, great. That sounds like something I can handle. Then you feel it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's really a thing. I can tangibly feel that, as opposed to think of it like a concept. But the thing that I really like, this is what ADs sign up for, and I love to see people have the opportunity to be bold, to knock it out of the park, and I think that's where she is. And if she makes the hire that works, and FAMU continues to win, everybody will act like they had nothing to say, like they were just behind her from the beginning. All the negative chatter and the naysayers will fade to the back, and that's just part of it. It's I don't know if high risk, high reward is the right analogy, but there's just a lot of things on the table there, and it can swing hard to the left or swing hard to the right. But I think you win by being consistent.
This is what it's all about.
Build the road.
Everybody wants that belt on again next year. Everybody wants that belt.
Well, they can have it right now.
They
can
don't want
have
to lose
that belt
right
now.
And they're nervous about losing. They want that belt. They want the championship again next year.
They could have it right now, Vaughn. They don't have to wait till next year. They could have this belt right now. Just go to the link. It's in the description. My daughter were packing up boxes yesterday at the post office. You guys have been showing out, FAMU. I see you. I see you.
Yeah, but I got to remind y'all, once this supplies out, it's a limited edition. So I'm sure there's only a handful left. So if you got that Rattler room, I know mine. I keep mine under lock and key. I don't even if somebody came to my house, they wouldn't even know where mine is. I don't even want it to walk away or or anything like that. But
I think we're down to the last 40, 35 to 40. So they are moving. Still have time, but they are moving. All right. So Vaughn, where do you expect the temperature of Rattler Nation to be on Monday morning, if you had a guess?
The temperature is going to be predicated on the game tonight. Is it tonight or tomorrow? FAMU is in Daytona. Both of the basketball teams are playing Bethune-Cookman. That is always a rivalry game. That'll be interesting. And let me tell you, A.D. Sykes' women's basketball hire is a winner. She is very, very popular in the Rattler Nation. We can see where the improvement is going to come as she's able to build her system. So that is going to be exciting. It's been a struggle for women's basketball at FAMU, and that's a sore spot. FAMU's basketball has been championship basketball, but as of the last several years, it's lost its mojo.
Yeah, it was a struggle plate now. It was the last couple of seasons, it was that struggle plate.
It was unwatchable, bad. Listen, the coach FAMU has now is going to build that team back to being a contender. Even the improvement they made this year. Lost a close game to University of North Florida, where in times before, that's a 30-point loss, 40-point loss. I don't know how many Jackson State beat us by, year before last. It's just been embarrassing, the women's games, and that's an embarrassment to women's sports, and it was an embarrassment to FAMU. But we have a real coach in, and I expect FAMU women's basketball to accelerate. Coach McCullum on the men's side, men's basketball, Coach McCullum is obviously an established coach. He's established himself at FAMU. I think what we're seeing with the struggles with FAMU basketball after being, at the top in the MEAC, the transition to the SWAC in 2021, as it came back in, now Coach McCullum is having to deal with, as a lot of coaches are, as what we saw last year with Coach Leonard Hamilton. He took a little longer to understand the transfer portal and how it affects basketball. I think Coach McCullum understood it, but it's just trying to get his footing to a team that will gel.
And MJ shouldn't have left. MJ should have not left.
Absolutely, MJ should not have left. That he should have had another year with MJ, and that would have brought some continuity. But now every year, you start out in the summer and got to get these guys to gel and figure out what they can do. The team he has now, with those big men that he brought in and with the shooting guards that he has, I think Coach McCullum and the Rattler basketball team should start to smooth out. This weekend will be a good barometer because Reggie Theus has a pretty good team down there in Daytona Beach. And so I think on Monday, Rattlers will be, evaluating what happened there. And then I think it'll be a little more calm and looking for the news of where we are in the search. It was hair on fire this week. It was hair on fire because Coach Simmons, unsuspectingly to the general public, left. There may be some people who kind of felt it and knew it or knew something, but for the general public, the departure happened this week suddenly, while everybody's still celebrating from the Celebration Bowl and expecting to run it back. So I can understand that anxiety. It's like, how do we lose what we just had to reach the mountaintop and have to rebuild it again? I think that was a lot of the frustration you saw this week. But I think that'll kind of subside a little bit and go more into just being anxious to who will be the next head coach of FAMU. I can tell you, I mean, we could talk about it. Coach Riz couldn't talk about it. Last night, Florida State's kicker committed to FAMU.
Oh, I missed that.
Yes, that is the latest. FSU's kicker committed to FAMU. People still want to come to FAMU. That says a lot about the FAMU brand and what is to be expected.
Boy, you might get DeSantis to put some orange and green on the flagpole, man. The way you guys are going, you have to keep that up there. Might let them know there's 2 teams in Tallahassee.
I'm not gonna respond and get into that conversation. Don't put my name in anything. No. Hey, Tolly said that. I didn't say that. I'm not.
I said that from the safe confines of Georgia.
You, don't get on here going Cat Williams on me, Tolly.
No, you don't have to worry about that. I have not.
You know what's funny? I met Shannon Sharpe in 1988. Both he and I had made All-American, and we were both flying to Pittsburgh for the All-American Sheridan All-American banquet. And he was from Savannah, so he drove to Atlanta to fly up from Tallahassee. We always stop in Atlanta. We sat there in a 2-hour layover, and my impression of him in a 2-hour layover is, man, this guy's quiet. He's very quiet. He didn't say anything. So to see him now, as outspoken as he is, it's really, really funny to me. Because he was the shy guy, but I guess he understood, to get that popularity, to get that fame, his thing was his gift of gab, and he's used it well.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally broke the internet this week. He literally broke it.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I understand it of his move to ESPN. I don't watch their talk shows as much. I just can't take all the screaming and craziness, but. He is killing it on YouTube right now. So I think he made a wise career decision there. It's paying off for him, and it's good to see a Savannah State alum making things happen. All right,
and I got to say, he completely owns Club Shake Shake. He's the financier and also the benefactor. So that's a great example of an HBCU student athlete figuring it out.
Yep, you don't have to work for the man to make it happen. All right, Stephen J. Gaither, proud alum of Winston-Salem State University. Steve, you got a big weekend coming up. HBCU sports, we're starting to get into conference play of basketball. Before we leave the good people on this Friday afternoon, what will you be focusing on? What are some big stories that might be developing outside of the FAMU coaching search where people can stop by HBCUGameday.com this weekend?
Yeah, so obviously a big week coming up. This is really the start of conference play in the MEAC and SWAC. The CIAA and the SIAC have already been rolling. I was just at Winston-Salem State yesterday where they had Education Day, had 600 plus students in the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools that have been reading with the WSSU Women program. They were been reading with these young people, and yesterday they got a chance to see them. They got a chance to see them play and sign autographs and cheer for them. It was great. The DJ did pretty good. I think you know him, Sally. But it was a great event.
Who's the DJ? Who's the DJ?
Mr. Davis.
Oh,
Mr. Davis.
Tony. DJ Tony Tone. All right. That's good. That's good.
On the ones and twos, had them going crazy. We got a video that's going viral on our Instagram and Twitter. With the kids dancing to this new song that all the kids love. It's like it tells you like to step left and right. Vaughn probably knows that he's a DJ. But it was great. So CIAA play is going on. Elizabeth City State women are defending champions there, and they showed it yesterday, getting a win over WSSU, a comeback win, and then the men defending champions over in the CIAA, Winston-Salem State. They sent the Vikings sailing. I think it was like a 25-point victory for them. So they're 10-3 overall. Down in the SIAC, you've got Benedict. They are undefeated as of right now. Nationally ranked, their men's basketball program, so doing a lot of big things. We got the SWAC and the MEAC both kicking off conference play this weekend. I think Howard is going to be traveling. The defending champs are traveling down to North Carolina Central. Hopefully, hopefully we'll be able to get all these games in because we're getting that normal stretch of it could be ice in North Carolina, and you know how that shuts stuff down. So they got that going on. A lot of CIAA games. It's kind of everybody's playing in North Carolina, and then I guess since we're talking North Carolina and basketball, I guess we'll give North Carolina A&T a shout out. They have now got their third win of the year, which means they have now tripled the wins of the football program under first-year head coach.
Oh, was that a shout out or a shot? That kind of felt like a shot. Disguised as a shout out.
I see our guy A&T Roy, aka Troy, is in the comments. He wants us to let everybody know that A&T is undefeated. Yes, in the CAA. Yes, they are 1-0 in the CAA. But really congratulations to Coach Ross and his team. He's kind of had to rebuild that from scratch. So it'll be interesting to see, how far they go in the CAA as well. So a lot of great HBCU basketball is going on. I know obviously football is always going to be the talk of everything, but if you can, make sure you go out and see some HBCU basketball. If it's not too icy, otherwise just stay in, and there's plenty of stuff, plenty of games on our networks, and it's going to be exciting. And Terry Braden is the Kansas City Chiefs player who's his name has popped up. He was interested in the South Carolina State job as well, and I believe he's a Tuskegee alumnus. So Tuskegee and Howard. So
Texas Southern. Is he interviewing with Texas Southern?
Well, I just saw and shout out to our guy from HBCU Legends, Kyle. He just put out the Texas Southern University Athletics or Texas Southern. There's a meeting going on at Texas Southern University. So
right now,
who knows what that means at this point? There's been a lot of meetings and not so many results. So we'll see. And a name we haven't heard a lot though in that Texas Southern search, which I'm interested in, is Valdosta State's head coach, Coach Johnson. He's a Texas Southern University alumnus, and he's had a lot of success with Valdosta State. So, but all eyes are still on Texas as we still have those eyes down in Florida.
Let me check this news. Okay, you literally said it. This credit going to Kyle T. Mosley. And Kyle says Texas Southern University Athletic Department is in a meeting, per source. Okay, they're in a meeting. They could be talking about anything.
Tolly?
Yeah, go ahead, Vaughn.
Boy, let me tell you what the chat. Will Davis says, why does the SWAC schedule FAMU Bethune-Cookman before students are back? I have asked this question for the last 10 years. In the MEAC, I asked it publicly to the commissioner and did not get a good answer. Like I was throwing an insult, but yeah, those rivalry games are an opportunity for the schools to make more money than they normally can with basketball. More gymnasium at Bethune-Cookman would be packed and sold out if the students were there.
Yeah, I felt like we got an answer. Oh, man, I'm going to have to go back and research this. I felt like we got an answer.
Charlie, cut away from me real quick. I got to pop up on my screen, so I'm on site, so I got to pop up. Let me deal with that. So you and Stephen take it back over, and I'll come back in with some comments from the chat.
Okay, Steve, I felt like we had an answer on that. I felt like it was something the way the schedule was set up. I didn't think about it until Vaughn just said it, but I feel like the SWAC commissioner might have answered that. I'll have to go back and check and see, but it just jarred something in my memory of why that was, why teams like FAMU and Bethune play that early before the students come back. Because that is a game that you would much rather have a packed house, but I feel like we had an answer that did make some sense, although it might not have made you happy. We'll have to go back and look at that.
All right, well, I'm back, Tolly.
All right, what you got, man? You're getting information all the time. What you got for us?
So Will Davis, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I think schools for basketball have limited opportunities to have that sellout. More gymnasium. When FAMU plays Bethune-Cookman, they bring the entire Marching Wildcats band, so that takes up a big part of the stands, and it sells out. But if it's on a holiday like now and no students are back, it loses all the energy. So I just hope in the future, and it's either, but they flip-flop the games every year. So last year it was FAMU having a game here with no students here, and this year it's Bethune having a game with no students here. Meanwhile, the flip-flop game at the end of the year, FAMU's Lawson Center is going to be packed out when Bethune-Cookman comes here. So I just wish that could be worked out a little better with rivalries that are that strong. We just got to put that in the computer that spits out the schedule that, hey, this is a rivalry game. We don't want it scheduled while the students are not there.
Well,
A&T Roy.
It does give an opportunity for the community to come out. There is that. Now, if you followed HBCU basketball, if you've been to not all the arenas, some of the arenas, when they're packed with students, it sometimes is a deterrent for the community to come in because they feel like there's not going to be a place to sit, or they might have to get in there and start swag surfing, and they don't really want to do that, or whatever the case may be. But during these Christmas, New Year's window of opportunity, when students aren't on campus, or you might be concerned about parking, like I don't want to have to walk and all that, it is an opportunity. I try to look at the bright side, Vaughn. It is an opportunity for the community to have space and feel comfortable and not feel like might have to swag surf.
But even if you're Rattlers, you want to be in there when the place is just totally crunk. Let me tell you, it's a small gym. More gymnasium at Bethune is a small gym, but it's so much fun when you got a competitive game going on. Just because everybody's on top of each other and it's this big competition. So, also Brian Fulford, no, I am not. I was not making a prediction on the FAMU men's basketball team. No, I was just stating the fact. And also a very important one, A&T Roy. Roy says, y'all gonna not talk about A&T men's basketball being undefeated in the CAA. Yes, we wrote about it, but yes, we got to discuss that.
Well, Stephen gave them their props. They're 1-0. They're 1-0.
Well, the Aggies are finding their way through the CAA. It's a culture change. It's a whole executional change of athletics. Being in the
culture
CAA.
change for sure.
Yeah, and A&T basketball. Let me tell you, in the HBCU realm, there was nothing like that dog pound. I'll never forget. We went to play North Carolina A&T the first time I went as the SID at FAMU, and by warm up, the students have given every girl on our women's basketball team a nickname that they called them the entire game, and the whole student section was in. It wasn't disparaging names; it was just a nickname, and they even gave Coach LaDon Gibson a name. It was just funny. But that dog pound at North Carolina A&T is one of the best in the business for basketball, and it does look like the Aggies are getting their footing in the CAA. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out.
Yep, Club Corbett is the place to be in Greensboro, North Carolina. All right, so Steve gave us the update on the weekend. I think we have run through the gamut of emotions. We had some recruiting news. We got an opportunity to talk to the recruiting coordinator, Devin Rispress at FAMU. So we have done it all on a Friday afternoon. So it is time to go, my friends. Vaughn, I'm off to rake some leaves. My wife has been complaining about the yard, so I got to go get that done. Brother, your weekend, are you going to slide down and check out the game, or are you just going to try to catch up on a little R&R? Because you have been running this week, Tan, rather.
I am keeping my ears to the ground here in Tallahassee. Some things in the cooker that we got to follow up on. I don't report rumors or things like that. I have to have some evidence, some information. So I'll be digging in Tallahassee all weekend.
All right. Don't go to the weight room. You don't have time for that, Vaughn. All right. You stay on the beat. Stay out of the weight room. We don't want to put that image out. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. For Stephen J. Gaither, for Vaughn Wilson, I am Tolly Carr. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the heartbeat of HBCU Game Day. Without you guys, there is nothing that we'd have to do. We'd have no one to talk to. But we're here to talk and give you information and a little bit of entertainment along the way. Thank you to Miles, our big super producer and director in the back. For the entire crew, it is TC. Show them the belt, Miles. You guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you a little later.